It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, Low Flock of Laters. Our beloved brother, Kobe, left a comment on my last message. And his words in this comment perfectly line up with the message that you're going to hear today. So I thought I would start the message today with his comment. And when you hear it, and then you hear the rest of this message, then it's going to make perfect sense what I'm saying to you right now. This is the comment. He says, I've been thinking lately how probably 99% of the men of this world would pick a Hagar over a Sarah, not only because of the obvious difference, but also because a woman who is submissive out of fear is, to the carnal mind, a better option than a woman doing it out of true love. Children of bondage that like a woman that remind them of their mama. Y'all hear that today, little flock? He goes on to say, come out of the state of confusion, my people. We got a better place waiting for us, flowing with milk and honey, with all kind of bread to eat and wine to drink. I added that little last part on myself, but that's basically what he was saying. A land flowing with milk and honey, a good land, y'all, that will nourish you. A good mother, you see, that will take care of you, that will provide all the needs for you. So you won't have to work and labor and slave, because that's the only alternative that you got here when you read what you're reading right there in the Bible, where it says Hagar and Sarah, which is what he was talking about. That's a choice between two worlds, correct? And Hagar gendereth to bondage. You see what I mean? But Sarah gendereth free children. So cast the bondwoman out and her son, because he shall not be heir with my son. Two different worlds. Y'all see that today, little flock? So men, as he said, 99% of men, listen up. There are a few of you out here that are not going to return back to Egypt, that are not going to return back to bondage when you've been pulled out. First of all, you have to be pulled out. And once you're pulled out, you're not going to return back. But there are many who will, like my brother said. A whole lot of people will. And Yahusha said that as well. He said, many there be that go therein. But the path that leadeth to life, few shall find it. You hear that, little flock? So I'm on that path. So then it would be wise, if you were wise, to listen so that you would know, wait a minute. Now I can see the difference between the two paths. Now I can clearly understand what Yahusha was talking about. Now I know which way to go. Like he said, you see, I am on the right path because I am the way. You see it, little flock? And once you're on that way, you don't return back to beggarly things. You hear that word? Beggarly things. Servant type of things. More than servant. Slave type of things. You see? And the ultimate thing about the carnal mind, about Hagar being your mother, and about bondage and slavery, the most important thing that I want you to focus on in this message is, what does it cause a man to do? That's what I want you to know. And once you see what it causes a man to do, then you'll be able to recognize it when you see it. You see that, little flock? It won't be hard. You'll be able to see it and understand it clearly and go, wait a minute, whoa, shit. I was doing that too. And it'll also let you know when you're doing it. So when to stay away from it, you see? And what is that? It's the work of your own hands. Do you hear that, little flock of laters, or do you hear it? Slaves believe that they are good when they have done good work with their hands, because there's going to be a slave master, which is a man. Which is a man. Why am I hitting on that point right there? Because that's showing you who you have made your master. Men. That's who you'd rather serve or slave for. You notice how Abba says when he calls his out of Egypt, he says, let my people go that they may serve me. Not just let them go so they can frolic and run around and do all kinds of shit that they want to do. That ain't what he said. He said, let them go that they may serve me. So the point is, little flock, you're going to serve one or the other. Yahusha said that as well. You can only serve one master. So if you have a slave master in the 3D, then who are you serving? Now, me as a free man, I don't have no slave master in the 3D. I told you who my master is, so I do what he tells me to do when he tells me to do it, because that's what you do with your slave master. But one of us is doing things by the work of our physical hands. That's what the slave master is telling you to do. And one of us that has the true master is doing it with the word. See it? They're both laboring. They're both sweating by their brow. But they're doing a different type of work. Why? Because they're of two type of worlds that have two different mothers. When a master needs something done, does he go work with his physical hands to get it done? Or does he open his mouth and speak? Look at their little flockulators. What do you think? Watch this. They said, Yahusha, we need to go pay some taxes. And Yahusha said, he said something very important before that. You guys who know the word know it, but I'm not going to hit on that right now. But he said, so that we do not offend. That's the reason why they did it, so that we don't offend men. Then go and you'll see a fish and he'll have some money in his mouth. Go take that. Is Yahusha working with his hands to go get this money, or is he talking with his mouth? Okay, what about when he came and they were in the upper room eating, and he said, before the upper room, he said, hey, there's going to be a cult tied up there. Go get it and bring it to me. And if somebody asks you why you took it, say the Lord have need of it. So is he doing something with his hands, or is he talking? Okay, let's see on the boat. The men were grabbing buckets of water with their hands, trying to throw the buckets of water off. Yahusha was asleep, but when he awoke, he stopped everything. He stopped the storm. He brought peace and calm, and everybody was safe. But he did it with his what? What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the waves obey his word, obey him, and they worshiped him? Because he got the word in his mouth, and the word is God. You guys just don't hear that part right there. So when people come to the grandson of right thought and they're like, dude, you got the word like a mug. What that mean? What that mean? See, the word can only come out of a being if his body is a temple. That's the only way, because Abba dwells in temples, but he does not dwell in temples made with hands. There it is again. So when it says the branch who shall grow up out of his place, the elect of the last days, he shall grow up out of his place. When he does this, it says he is going to build the temple, and he shall build the temple and bear the glory. Bear what glory? The glory of God, because God don't give his glory to nobody but I am. I've had people come to me and say, hey, dude, you're talking about the Father and the Son and everything. That can't be, because God said he ain't giving his glory over to nobody else. Ha, ha, ha. Did you read where Yahusha, who you're trying to talk shit about, but you can't? Did you read where he says, I am, and let us all be one? So then what did Yahusha say the name was? What does the grandson say the name is? So you see why the word is in my mouth and not in your stinking breath having ass mouth? You see why? You see? Because we are one. Just like he said about his father. I and my father are one. Yahusha and I are one. You just don't think that. Yet you can't deny the word that's coming out with great force and power. Well, it's only coming out because the temple has been built. And God don't dwell in temples made with hands. So who built the temple? Grandson did, the Bible said. How did he build it? With his mouth. Because Abba showed the power of the word, that everything has to become subject, or as the Bible said, even the wind and the waves obey him. What kind of man is that? The new one. Y'all are old. You can't put new wine into old wineskin. You have to become a new wineskin. So how do you become a new wineskin? The temple has to be built, obviously, so that the word can be poured into you and you can speak a new word. That simple, their little flock, Galaters. You see it? So many men don't understand about this working with your hands. When you were raised in the world, that was your first experience, which is, if I do it good, then I am good. See how you're saying God's name in there? So what you're actually telling God is that he's only good because he was able to do that math problem right. Is that true? You'll say, well, no. We'll see how you took his name in vain and lied. But you did it ignorantly. You didn't know. It was because of your mother Hagar. That's the only thing she can teach. That's why she gendereth to bondage. She can only teach you to do the works of your hands to please people. Because what else pleases them? When you was a child, your mother would tell you to do something. She was pleased when you did it well. So what did you learn? That if I do things with my hands and I do it well, then I will get the praises of men. That's not always true. But you believed it and you thought it and you lived according to it. You see what I mean? So now that you know that, little flock, look at the Israelites and look how much sense it's going to make when you read about what Paul says about the Israelites. They sought it not by faith, but as it were, by the what? Little flockulators, flockulate on them, we flocculating. Just flockulate on them, we flocculating. Look what I just found on the ground, y'all. Look what I just found. I am loved. How about you? When you're flocculating, then you spread love. That's the way that it is. So they sought it by the works of their hands and by the works of the law. I told you there's only two types of way to seek something. When you're seeking approval, you will only seek it two types of ways. One or two types of ways. One of two, types of ways. Which is by the work of your hands, which is what you can present before that person. So now we're talking about a man being taught this by his mother. If you learn that way of living by your mother, then you will get a wife who was the same way as your mother, which means she's only pleased when you present things in your hands that she deems to be good quality or done well or of a high value. Then she pats you on this head and says, attaboy. And that's why when things don't go right with your wife, you call your mom. And guess what your mom is going to tell you? When you call her and tell her about all the strife you're going through, all of the stress you've been going through, all of the heartache and disrespect you've been enduring, all of the harsh words and secret things that this woman does to you when no one else is around, but when she's in front of people, she acts like she's a perfect angel. So everybody in your family thinks that she is so because she's probably beautiful and attractive, because you wouldn't marry a woman in the old world otherwise, because it's all about appearances. So you're going to marry a beautiful woman. Well, because of that, your family thinks that she's a good, perfect girl. Actually, she's a fucking devil and a witch and serves Satan and is looking to kill you. So every day you come home, she's plotting on you emotionally and psychologically. But since she's not beating your ass physically, when you leave out the house, nobody can see all of the scars that she has put on your body. Nobody can see all of the black eyes that she has put on your body, because she's kicking your ass and abusing you the same way and the same technique that your mother used when you were a child, who when you went out, sometimes you had bruises every now and again, but most of the time you had emotional and psychological bruises because your mother manipulated your mind because she was slave-minded. And in order to exist as a slave, you're afraid. You think the slave master is going to kill you, so you come up with all these schemes and devious ways to live, and you seek to save your life. And in doing that, you lose your true life, which is a free man. You never experience freedom because you're too scared because of that slave master, which is that man right in front of you. It doesn't matter if he has a whip in his hand. It's when you go to school. It's when you go to the doctor. It's when you go to church. It's when you go to the party. It's when you go to the club. It's everywhere. It's a bunch of men that have a sense of approval that they're all trying to aim for. And you, when you walk in, if you don't fit the bill, then you're a castaway. And it's just that damn simple. So what you do is you try to blend in with the circumstances so that you can be accepted. So you try to look and see what they say on their criteria list here. Okay, dress like this, talk like this, buy that, drive that, live in this neighborhood, have this type of job, make this kind of money every year, be this tall. Now you're going to be valuable. See? And you can't help but take God's name and whether you think you are valuable or not. Because when you look in the mirror, and if you're going to tell yourself you are, how would you say it to yourself? Try to say it without using God's name. Tell yourself you're valuable. Look in the mirror right now. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you are valuable. How are you going to say it to yourself? You're going to look in the mirror. You're going to say, I am valuable. It's that natural for you to do it. I am is God's name. So what caused you to believe that he was valuable? Oh, well, I just told him that because I made this A on my report card. And my mom said that I was good. So then I said, I'm valuable. I believed I was because I got an A. So you weren't valuable if you didn't get an A? And if you don't get an A, you're not valuable anymore? That's the way you'll live. And so you'll be very bitter as you grow, man, and you'll become very vindictive, and you'll pout, and you'll throw your toy on the ground every time it doesn't give you the satisfaction that you're looking for. And that toy could be your child, that toy could be your wife, that toy could be any damn thing that you've acquired in your life that doesn't give you the satisfaction you were looking for. All you know how to do now is be vindictive and bitter and mad. That's all you know how to do. Because that's how your mother made you feel your whole childhood. And your mother was the world you grew up in. But see, my mother are they who do the will of the Father. That's my mother. So who's your mother? And if you do the will of the Father, then that means that you are taking his name in truth. Because the will is that you don't take it in vain. So then obviously it's taking his name in truth is doing the will. Well, you're not taking his name in truth when you think works tell you whether his name is good or not, or valuable, or bad. But grandson, you don't get it. I'm just talking about me, this little old man right here. No, you're not. You just think you are. Christ prayed that we would all be one. So then he lives in the truth. So then men live in lies where they believe that we're not all one in that name. That's what they think, even though they all take the name. They deny that we're all one in it. Yahushua knows the truth that we're all one in that name. And if you choose not to become one in the truth of that name, then you die. There's no big mystery here. It's simple. I am sick causes you to be sick. I am dying causes you to die. I am stupid causes you to be more stupider. I am lacking causes you to lack, because that's what you're telling God you are. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So then what am I saying that's wrong? Nothing. It's just that I have a lot of old wineskins. As the brother said in his comment, 99% of you guys will choose a thing. What he's actually telling you in code is most men will choose a thing based on how it looks outward appearance. See? You see? And so watch this, brother. If you have married a woman, now watch the difference. We've already discussed in great clarity what happens in the old world when you're taught by your old mother, what kind of man you grow up to be. A coward, a fearful man. Slaves are fearful. They're cowardly. They're scared. They don't know how to speak up and open their mouth and use the word. They're just timid as hell. And what did Christ say every time? Fear not. Be of good cheer. Why is he restructuring you with those words? Why is he building your temple with those words? Obviously, because he's bringing you out of the state you were in. Well, if he says what? Be of good cheer, then what does that mean you were doing? See how easy it is? Now look at the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. What did they do the whole time they were wandering in the desert? What did they do? They murmured and complained. See? You see? Because of what they thought the circumstances that I'm in. The circumstances that I am in. That's what they were thinking about because they were coming out of slave mentality. Look, when the Egyptians had the Hebrew Israelites, what were the Hebrew Israelites doing there? Well, the scripture says that Pharaoh looked out one day and said, these Hebrews have grown and grown and grown into a multitude. And I think that if they continue to grow, they will become powerful and they will rise up and fight with my enemies against me and overthrow me. So let me put their ass into slavery and make them serve me. See what I mean? Make them fearful, make them timid, make them afraid, take their I am away. What happened to the Negroes in America? Why do you think USA has had so much success? Why do you think so? It couldn't be because of those special people that they have. that they use to thrust before the world and say, look at these Americans, even though they treat them second rate. They treat them less than, but to the world, they say, look how cool these people we got. Come look at them. Come pay all your money to come see them. Come look at them perform. Watch them dance. We're the biggest attraction in the world. They even used to take Negroes and put them in a petting zoo. You hear how cruel that is? Do you know how heartless you have to be to take a little child and put her in a zoo as if she's an animal and put her there as a spectacle to be petted on the head as if she's some kind of dog? So like I said, there's never any errors or lies in the word because the words don't come from here. They come from above. That's where they come from. You see it? They don't come from below. You are from beneath. I am from above. What did it say about Jerusalem and Sinai, Hagar and Sarah? What did it say? It says, Hagar gendereth to bondage and answereth, see, to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. So Hagar being your mother is the reason why you are in bondage, because of who raised you. And what y'all don't know about Hagar is that she was kicked out, right? So when she had to raise Ishmael, who helped her raise Ishmael? She would be what we call a single mother, right? During slavery, that seems to happen a lot. You know why? Because people are stripped away from their families. The man is made into nothing before the woman's eyes by the slave master. It's called white supremacy that the whole world is living in. How could any watch this? Let's just be really silly like kids. Let's just get real simple like children. Let's say white like the crayon color white and black like the crayon black. Let's say there were two types of people that actually look like that. And now one of them has gotten supremacy, which are those white crayons. They've gotten supremacy in the world. And they've subjected the black crayons, who they hate, to servitude and slavery status, chattel slavery status, the same level as a bull or a sheep, you see? Same type of thing. Well, do you think that the so-called black crayons are going to find happiness in that world? So then who's lying saying that you're going to be happy living in white supremacy if you're a black crayon? Who's lying saying you can find happiness in it? Who's lying saying that you can find joy in it? Who's lying saying that all you have to do is pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you get on the same level as the white crayons? You'll be standing there like a black crayon. The white ones will never accept you. You see it today, little flock? Because they're two different worlds is what I'm saying. So it is with this, with Hagar and Sarah. You guys are all living in a slave plantation. All of you are, because of the white supremacy system that you all live under, which makes the world be backwards and upside down. You see, when you have the lowest form of man at the top of the world, then you're going to have the lowest form of the world, which is what you have with Esau. That's why Abba hates him. It's not hard to understand. It's shocking when you see it in the Bible. He hates the first world. Don't you? When you see it? When you go, wait a minute, yeah, I was a coward, I was fearful, I was afraid, I was letting my mother tell me what to do in every circumstance. I ran to her and she gave me piss poor judgment because she denied right thought in her life. That's what made her a damn bond slave. So she can't teach me right thought. I need the woman who has right thought with her. Well, who is that? That's Sarah. That's Sarah. You see it? And so it says she is above. That's what it says. That's where I'm from. Like I said earlier. Sinai gendereth to bondage, which is in bondage with her children today. But Zion, or Sarah, or Jerusalem, which is above, see, is free. So then if a member of that free society comes down, see, from above, comes down to earth to speak to you, then don't you think he's going to be awfully strange to all of the slaves that have been living under that slave mindset? Don't you think so? So don't you see why you have to be adopted into my family so that you can be raised by my mother, which is wisdom? You see it? Can't you see it? So that you can be re-raised, as the scripture says, born again. Look, how can I go into my mother's womb again? Isn't that the question that the man asked Yahushua when he said you must be born again? Do you see it, little flockulators? Ain't that the question that was asked? Yes. Well, what did I just tell you? You were born from one mother. Now you have to be adopted into a new family and take on a new mother. So then you're going to be born again because she's not going to teach you the same things that the other mother taught you. She can't. They're not in the same state of mind. If you were on the slave plantation and you were in the cabin with your physical, biological mother, and then you were stripped away and sent to another plantation, but yet you weren't sent out to the field, the woman of the house had compassion on you because you were cute or something, smart or whatever, and allowed you to live in her house, and she adopted you as her own child. So you're a little slave, but you're brought up in the house. You know how to read. You know how to write. You know how to speak correctly. You know how to dress correctly. You know how to appear in that world the right way so that you're not offensive to all of the white crayons that you're around. You learn how to not be offensive because you learned it from another mother. So you learn how to blend in with the new world. You cannot go back to the slave plantation now. You who have been raised from that 6-year-old child, now who is 18 years old, sent back, goes to a plantation, sees the slaves and goes up there to hang out with them. And she's telling them about her new life that she's been living. Oh, well, I ate this today. They're like, I just had a handful of cornmeal and some beef tripe. And I think that was a bowl of chitterlings that the master gave me to eat. And you're talking about you were eating pate and lamb sirloin and all of this shit with bacon wrapped around it and ribeye steak and juicy Aunt Jemima pancakes made by Big Mama in the house and shit. So you just like us. When you were in slavery, you ate slave victuals, but then you came out in the wilderness and he gave you manna to eat. Do you know manna is angels' food? See right there, little flockulators. It ain't hard to understand. So back to that brother that was brought up by that old mother and he gets a new wife. She gonna be just like your mama. She gonna treat you just like your mama. And when you piss her off, she gonna call your mama so that they can reinforce the mental slavery that you're in to make you into a bitch boy beta male slave. A boy that do what I say, step and fetch it, oh ass nigga, just like they did when you was a slave. Step and fetch it. Shut your ass up, man. You're weak. So don't say anything. Don't be bold or I'll beat your ass down. See, slave gets scared of that. Look at the grandson of right thought. Look how I open my mouth and talk. Look how I don't censor myself. Why would I? I'm free, so then I speak free. Because I cannot put myself in bondage in any way if I'm free. Can you hear that there today, little flocculating laters? Look, a flocculating laters. You hear it? But what happens when you get transformed? Guess what? You and your mother are going to have enmity now. You and your old life, you and the old world. You're going to have enmity now. When you used to go to the party, you used to laugh and crack jokes to get that momentary satisfaction. You tried to be funny. You tried to be the life of the party and all that shit. Now when you go, well, first of all, you don't even go anymore. But if you happen to have to go, you're compelled to go by somebody, then you just sit there in mourning, damn near, sadness. Because the scripture says, humble yourselves before Abba and turn your laughter into sadness and grief and mourning. Take them nice ass clothes and exchange them for sackcloth and plain clothing. Take all of that attention you pay to your outside body and humble all of that before the Father to show the Father that you're keeping in his ways that he told us all. He gave us enough time to decorate ourselves, these little temporary bodies. He said, okay, have fun with it then. Go ahead and paint the shit. Go ahead and spend $500 on some hair since you can't take care of your real hair because you don't know the truth of yourself. Go ahead and try to look like them white crayons. Go ahead and get your Beyonce wig on. Go ahead. And y'all know the kind of wig I'm talking about. That blonde one. Yeah, that's natural to Hebrew Israelites. So let's go do more of that. You slave. You envy your slave master. Can't you tell you do? Can't you tell? You're going to look like who you reverence. Your woman is going to look like that man that she reverences. That's just that damn simple. It's just that simple. So Jacob was a plain man dwelling in his tent. And then it says Yahusha was lowly, riding on a colt. Same type of image. So then what you think the grandson is? A plain man. Is he? How come you can scroll through all of my videos and you can literally count how many clothes I've worn? In all of the years that you see posted video, you can literally count. That's about 4 garments I've seen. Do you hear that, little flock? In about 4 years, literally once a year, I change garments. You can literally tell, yeah, he be wearing that hoodie sometime. It got them little lines in it and shit. It's grayish blue. He be wearing that shit. And in the wintertime, he puts a hoodie on top of that hoodie and shit and turns it into like a little makeshift coat and shit. Then he's got the shirt with the sleeves cut off of it and shit that he be wearing. It got holes all in it and shit. Y'all understand the point of what I'm saying? Plain. But no. Hagar won't allow you to be that way because the master is watching. See? Man is watching you. So do something. She won't even let you relax and sit still and kick your feet up. Clean this up. Do this. Get this done. Get this done. You be like, why are you so mad because it ain't done? You could just tell me to do it and I'll do it. But why you got to be mad about it? Because that's the world that she's teaching you to be a part of. The world where people disdain you, get mad at you, treat you like shit if you don't do what they deem is pleasing. That's simple. And who wants to live in a world as a child where your parents judge you based off of your what's the word I'm looking for? Based off of your effectiveness? Is that the word I'm looking for? Effectiveness. They judge you based off of the works of your hands. So they're proud of you because you graduated and got your diploma. They're proud of you because you went to this specific school that they deem is a good school. They're proud of you for that. They're proud of you. It's all about what you do. That's Hagar. That's the old world. So now I need you to tell me what the new world is. Now that you can recognize it clearly and have been raised in it, so you should be able to recognize it, then what's the new? That would be Sarah, right? What does she judge you based on? The works of your hands? How you doing, brother? What did he say? Israel did not get what they sought for because they sought it not by faith. So then we know the new world is based on faith. So now with your child, that means that you love your child and it is not contingent upon what they have done with their hands. It is the intent of their heart that causes you to love them. So even if they don't do it well, the intent of their heart was to, and you judge them based off of that. Now, why would you do that? Because that's what the Father said he does. I'm so accurate with this blade, isn't he? See, grandson, you're boasting. What's God's name? His name is I am. So how would you tell God that he is the best? Well, I'd say I am the best. So then how come you get mad when I say that? Why you hate me? Because I tell you what I am. Why? Oh, I know why. Because you're a Hagar's bond child that judges outward appearance. That's the only reason why. You can't judge the heart. Don't you see it? So what kind of people will see God? Only the pure in heart will. See? The intention of your heart was pure. Look, you're not going to always do it right with your hands. You're going to fall short. The flesh is weak. Therefore, there will be things that you have to do that they will say is pleasing to God. And it may be done on a certain schedule at a certain time. Well, let's say you fall ill or you get in a car accident or you were traveling somewhere and busted a tire. And so now what you had to do at this certain time before the sun came up or the sun went down, you have to have it done. Well, now you weren't able to do it because of this unforeseen accident that took place. So what do you need in that moment? And you would say, well, I need grace. See? See it? He told us to boldly approach. How come you're cowardly approaching? As if he's going to be mad because you didn't make it on time. I know, because in the old world, your mother doesn't care why you were late. She's just mad that you were fucking late because you made her look bad. And what you'll see in that old world is that mother She is more concerned with her credibility in front of people. She's more concerned with you as the child, how you make her look in front of people, more so than how you actually feel. She's more concerned with the outward appearance more than actually how you feel on the inside. That's why she yells at you. That's why she tells you shut the fuck up. That's why she says sit your little bad ass down, don't say shit else or I'll beat your ass. That's why she talks to you like you're some type of monster. How could you not feel like you are? How could you not feel like you're no account when your own mother that birthed you talks to you that way? Like you're nothing. It's because that's what she is. She is nothing. So she can only teach you nothingness. She can't teach you anything else. She gendereth to bondage, man. She can only teach you how to be a slave. So then you have to recognize that about your mother. And you may have heartbreak because of that. You may have a moment of sorrow because of that recognition and realization. And you may cry about it from moments in time, and then your right thought's going to come in and succor you and say, I understand why you feel that way. But here's the truth of the matter. She is nothing. All the nations before me are nothing and less than nothing, but they be like unto spittle. So if you don't keep the will of the Father, you are nothing and less than nothing and be as unto spittle. So then sometimes that spittle or nothing, we believe that it was so much to us as a child growing up. We believe that mother loved us or we sought for her love. She cannot love. She's a bond slave. How can she know love? She doesn't know love. She doesn't know, but Sarah does. Sarah knows the love of the Father. Guys, who buried next to Abraham? Hagar? Now watch this little mystery I'm about to share with you right now, guys. Jacob had a choice between two women. He loved one, so therefore he hated the other. And the Bible says he hated her. It doesn't mean he was mean. It doesn't mean he was unrighteous. It just means he rejected her. He preferred the other one. That's the same thing you got to understand about hate. When you prefer something else, you're hating the other. So keep listening. Jacob works for 7 years with the work of his hands for his bride, and he gets tricked out of what he thought he was going to get. That's the principle. Stop looking at that man and that woman and focus on the higher principle of the spirit. That is telling you that you will labor in your life for the first thing that brings you peace, which is your wife. She's the comfort that you're looking for as a man. Your wife is. So when you search for her, you will search for her by the work of your hands like Jacob did with Rachel. Now, why did he love Rachel? Because she was beautiful to look upon. Leah, see, Leah was not. She had weak eyes, but her sister was beautiful. It doesn't mean Leah was ugly. It just means Rachel was more beautiful to look at. I'm sure you as men have seen that in the world. You saw two sisters one day and were like, damn, that one looked good as hell, but that other sister kind of frumpy. She don't look as good as her sister do. You see that today? Unless they're twins or something. Your ass be looking at the Learman twins online like, good gracious, shit, it's two of them. Shit, they're both fine as hell. Damn, let me get out of here. Let me run this way. Shit. Talking about they're working out and shit. Damn. Shit, they're working it all right. Y'all hear what I'm saying, little flaccolators? You're looking with the outside, and that's how alluring it is. It be looking good as hell to you. But they're working with their hands to get that nice ass shape popping like that on your ass. That's why them Learman twins is always in the gym working out. So they can get that thing popping for you so you can look and wonder after it and say, wow, look at the work of their hands. So great and wonderful. I want it. Don't you see it's always the same? So that's how Jacob felt about Rachel. It says she was well favored. That means she had a nice ass shape, nice body and every damn thing. Her hips didn't lie. She was looking good. So he labored for her. But he got deceived and didn't get what he thought he was going to get. He got Leah instead. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. Out of those two women, Rachel and Leah, which one is buried next to Jacob? You might be surprised to see that it's Leah. Rachel was buried on the side of the road. as they were traveling. So y'all don't hear that, I guess. Y'all don't hear it, I guess. You're going to get deceived laboring for your first. I did. That's how I know. I saw this woman. I was captivated. My mouth fell damn open like that wolf on the cartoons would do when he would see the fine-ass woman singing up there, and he would freak out. His eyes would pop all out of the sockets, and his tongue would be like rolling all out of his mouth. That's how I was when I saw my ex-wife. I was like, huh? So I labored. Shit, nigga got looking good, dressing good, working good, getting good money. Shit, hell yeah, I want that woman. Shit, that's why. And I got her. And I was with her for 7 years. Well, let's say, 7 years. Going into the 7th year is when we divorced. Look at that. So the grandson labored for 7 years for his wife and was deceived. So was I. But now I have a new. So then, y'all can't see that. Y'all can't see it. The other one had to go on the wayside because it wasn't sufficient to bring me to where I needed to be, which was my comfort and my rest. I never had rest with her. I'm always laboring and working. And then I'm always telling her, don't you see what I've done? Don't you see the work of my hands? Don't you see how hard I have worked for you? Don't you see what I've done for you? Don't you see how I have fed you? How I have clothed you? How I have housed you? That's what you be saying to her. And she'd be like, nigga, you ain't shit. And that's going to infuriate you because you were raised to believe that the works of your hands bring you salvation. And it don't. And it don't. And it's all through the Bible relentlessly. So y'all can't lie and say that what the grandson is saying ain't true. And if you know the experience I'm talking about, then you know it's true. Then you know it's true. Niggas out here all talking about going their own way. Why do you think? Why do you think? And then they tell you why. You can't talk to these girls. They don't have no self-accountability. They just talk trash to you. They make you feel like shit. They mentally fuck with you. They psychologically screw you. They do all kind of crazy shit. They're not honest. They're not loyal. They do whatever the hell that they want to do and then lie about it. They're just terrible. You're talking about the world you were raised in. Those women are. That's why Solomon said, there ain't no righteous women. There's no right thinking women. That's what he's telling you. See? Out of 1,000, I have found none. Wow. Yeah. It's a harsh reality, but you need to face it so you can come into the new and receive the new and stop judging outward appearance. The girl, you don't have to look at her physical body and your tongue roll out for you to marry her. You need to look at her heart and your eyes bulge and pop out and your tongue roll all out down the damn street and people stepping on it as they walk past and you don't even care because you're too busy in awe over the kind of heart she has. How come you're more impressed with that? Because that's what God is impressed with his bride. Her heart. That is what's attractive to her. See, because it works both ways. This works for the sisters the same damn way. Y'all think that by the work of your hands that you will become presentable and acceptable to people. Why do you think women go through so many surgeries? Tummy tuck, hip this, booty that, lips this, nose that, rhinoplasty this, chin bone that, cheekbone shaved like that, teeth pulled and did like this. My eyes pulled back to look a little bit more Asian. Guys, do you see all of this that they're doing so that they can go, men can look and go, wow, how desirable. And then guess what she gets? A man who only wanted her for her outward appearance. She cannot maintain that outward appearance forever. So when it starts to change, he will start to wander off to other girls that tickle that fancy, which there always is some in the old world. And because his old mindset, he's a whoremonger, he cannot help it. He's chasing after what he wants, which is what he sees. So now that you no longer see that good to him, in other words, look, he sees you, but you don't look that good to him anymore. Then you realize it was vanity, lady. And you'll be telling him the same damn thing. I did this. I took care of your kids. I laid there and had 5 of your children. I took care of the bills for you. I did this when you were down and out. I this and I that and I that. And you thought that that was going to gain his approval. You will never get it by the work of your hands. God has told us this. But people are rebellious, aren't they? So then I'm proving to you that if it's true on one level, it's true on all. You cannot get what you seek for if you seek for it by the work of your hands. You must seek it by faith. You must feel as though it is already so. Now watch how different you as a man will be when you walk in your house with this thought in your head. My wife loves me unconditionally. She doesn't care if I slip and fall. She's actually the kind of woman that helps me up when I do. If I happen to make a mistake, she doesn't judge me. She lovingly brings me back to the truth in the state of man that she knows that I am. She's truly loyal to me. You're just walking saying this in your head as you walk in the house. Then what will you get? You will get all of those things and more because you sought it the true way. James told you all that you don't get it because you ask amiss. And you're asking for something that you can consume upon your own selfishness. That's what lust means. Selfishness. See, if I do this, then I'll get this in exchange. Okay. Well, while you're doing all of that bartering back and forth, I already have what I've sought for. I already have it. My wife loves me. She cherishes me, and she thinks that I'm precious. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Now, when she starts to act squirrely or to try to appear as though she's not any of those things that you have said by faith, you just remain in that state of faith. Oh, baby, it's okay. You upset? You mad? All right, I'll give you a minute. No problem. She's like, what the hell? I thought he was going to stand and argue like he used to. No, slaves argue with each other. They throw shit and tear their own houses up because they're mad about the house that they're in. Don't be mad at your spouse. That's not why they're throwing shit. They're throwing shit because they're mad because they're in that position. They feel like they've let themselves down. That's why they want to jump on you. That's why they're mad at you. It's personal with themselves. It ain't got nothing to do with you. So if you stay in that mindset of, she loves me, she think I'm precious, give it a moment. Give it 3 hours. Give it a day if you need to. And just be silent. And wait. Because we patiently wait with the hope, with the substance of what we hope for. That's what faith is. So if it pleases God for us to have faith, then what do you think you should be like? What I just told you to be. Now, your mother never taught you that. When you called your mom and you told her about all the problems that you and your spouse were going through, she didn't say, hey, son, you know what? Why don't you just speak to yourself differently? You're telling me she did this, she did this, she did this, she did this. Why don't you talk about I am? And talk about the truth of what you would like to experience. And then believe that by faith. Did your mother teach you that? Then your mother ain't Sarah. Your mother said, why don't you take her out to a nice dinner? Work with your hands. Why don't you buy her a new car? Work with your hands. Why don't you just purchase that new house that you can't afford? Work with your hands. Why don't you just get a better job? Get 2 jobs. Work with your hands. Why don't you go get her a new tennis bracelet? Work with your hands. Why don't you go get? Why don't you get the mark of Cain is what she's saying. Because that's what slaves got. They always set on getting something because they ain't got shit. But if you got everything, then you won't seek to get. I have it. That make you powerful and that make women want you. Just telling y'all a little secret tidbit right there, a bit of game for you. If you have that mindset that you already have what you seek for and you're just walking on that frequency, she is going to marvel over that state of being that you're in because that's the state of being she wants for herself. Constant, eternal peace and safety. All women want it. Well, where are you going to find it at, sister? In Jerusalem, like Abba said. In a man that is in a peaceful, calm state of being. That was your husband. One who doesn't panic. One who doesn't get scared. One who doesn't judge outward appearance and think that something bad has happened because it looks bad. He turns right to you and say, baby, don't listen to them niggas. They don't know shit. Listen to your husband. Listen to your husband. Well, honey, they said this and this and this and this. I'm your head. So then what you need to listen to them? Why you want to commit adultery? So you start talking to her the true way. Why you want to commit adultery on me? I'm not committing. I ain't cheating on you. What you talking about? If you listen to them niggas, you is. You're letting them penetrate you and bust a nut in you. And I'm stopping that nut right now. And I'm stopping them from penetrating you because I'm your husband. So don't give it up to them. They're just trying to get you and lift your skirt and impregnate you with their seed. That's not a sound relationship between you and I, would you say? She starts to understand the true work she got to do. Oh, shit, you're right. If I receive their thoughts, then they're busting a nut inside of my brain. But if I have a husband, then his thoughts should be busted inside of my brain only because I'm a virtuous wife. Who can find that kind of woman? Who will listen to her head over her boss, who will listen to her head over her doctor, who will listen to her head over everybody. That's the kind of woman God wants. He wants Israel to listen to him and only him because he loves her. Just that damn simple. So if y'all can understand that with Abba, then y'all can understand it with our relationships, and y'all can see the connection between what Brother Kobe put down there in that comment and what we have talked about today, little flock. So it's hot, and of course I'm sweating because I've been laboring with my mouth, haven't I? And I've been tearing down strongholds in people's brains. See? See? So if you saw that physically being done, that would be a man with a big plummet in his hand. And he has a plummet in his hand so that he can destroy. In other words, a wrecking ball he has in his hand so that he can destroy the house you've been living in. And then he's going to build a new one. I'm doing it right now with you guys. I just described to you 2 houses. I'm smashing the old one down in your mind so you can be free from that. You stop arguing. Stop grabbing that girl by her neck. Stop throwing shit. She can stop smashing your window. Stop being mad at each other. Because we got to stop or die. What would you rather do? And I know many of you in your pride would rather die than stop. Go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead so I can breathe better. I can breathe easier. I can have more resources to live on. Thank you. Get on out of here, Tares. Clear the air. You hear me, little flock? So y'all be blessed today. Silawam, Israel.